Good morning, family. Good morning, friends. I must say that I've been very fortunate to have lived in various parts of Grenada. And that is the reason why I'm able to write about my experience in Tongue, St. George's, and the experiences I had in various parts of the country. Many of my very good friends hail from the country parts. And yes, I taught at the St. John's Christian Secondary School for a number of years. And there I met many, many good friends who are still my friends today. And of course, I went to school there. I was able to link up with some good friends in Florida, St. John, and again, who are still my friends today. Happy to be their friends. In fact, one friend from Guave often say that I've spent so much time in Guave while I was teaching at the St. John's Christian Secondary School that he made me an honorable Guave man. Well, I don't know if I'm worthy of that title, but he made me an honorable Guave man. Now, one of the things that I was able to gather, I was to experience actually while I lived in Grenada, was having the experience of picking cocoa. Now, if you look at the picture you're seeing there, see a nice cup of cocoa tea. Oh boy, when outside is hot, you drink cocoa tea. Outside cold, you drink cocoa tea. Well, in Brooklyn, when the weather is extremely cold, well then you see the real effect of a nice cup of cocoa tea. But yes, I drink cocoa tea anytime, hot or cold. Now, just to talk a little of my experience, and my experience, yours might be different in terms of how you prepared cocoa. But I did while I lived in Montgelou. And Montgelou is not really considered the country part, but much of what people experience in Montgelou, with the many cocoa trees and so, same experience in Mount Rich and Belvedere and etc. So I had the experience of picking cocoa, preparing cocoa. I'm sure my father did also. My father was a St. Paul's man. He was born in St. Paul's, so I'm sure he had that experience also. Now to the story. Time to pick the cocoa. My two-pointed ladder sticking through a tree towards heaven still. And there is a barrel I didn't fill. The scent of apples I am drowsing off. I cannot rub the strangeness from my sight. Those words were penned by the poet Robert Frost, one of the many poets found in the book Choice of Poets. We studied that book at the St. John's Christian Secondary School. Now, Frost in his poem told us about apple picking. Some of you were wondering, this man talking about cocoa, he talking about apple. But I was just drawing a point. Frost spoke about apple picking, but I will reflect a little about cocoa picking. Now, we Grenadians love our cocoa tea. Many of us will gladly enjoy a cup of cocoa tea, and we drink it to wash down the fried bakes and the fish cakes. We love the mouth-watering fried bakes that our granny used to make. Boy, I still think of the fried bake my mother used to make. Long time I need one like that. My mother, rest in peace. Now those who don't like fried bake might just settle for a Johnny bake or even a coconut bake. Cocoa tea is nice, But cocoa work is hard. You know, in Grenada and various parts of the world, there are people who like things, you know. They just don't want to work for it. Cocoa tea is nice, but cocoa work, boy, they're hard. So some like to drink the cocoa tea, but they'll run from the cocoa work. Now we need the energy derived from the cocoa tea to do the tough cocoa work. Some Grenadian families were acquainted with the cocoa work because cocoa processing was once a family affair. Now, from my experience, and again I mentioned, and I'll mention again, my experience, how I knew it. The work begins with a cocoa knife, a curved piece of metal at the end of a bamboo rod. Boy, once I was on a breadfruit tree, climbing up the breadfruit tree, going up to go on a higher branch, and I stuck the cocoa knife above my head, and my hand touched it. Oh, Lord of mercy, man, if that thing had hit my neck, I wouldn't be talking to you today. It got me on my foot, got 14 stitches in the hospital. You see, God spared my life, and I'm so thankful for that. So yes, the cocoa knife. Now, while we head to the cocoa trees in the land, we often look out for the cribo. You know, the cribo is a snake, and I guess harmless, but a snake is a snake, many of us felt. Some people used to tell us that if we saw a cribo, they believe it had the ability to break your leg, wrap around your leg, and break your leg. Now, I don't know. I never saw that happen. So we carry lard pans. You know, we had this pan called lard pan. Some people used to even boil ham, Christmas ham, in the lard pan. So we place the lard pan on the ground, and that is where we were going to place the cocoa pods. Boy, you need cocoa strength to carry a lard pan full of cocoa. If you could carry a lard pan full of cocoa pods, then you're a strong person. Then the joking begins, boy. The joking down the cocoa. We take our time to joke down the cocoa. This is not difficult when plucking from the short trees. You know, there are some short cocoa trees, but the taller ones, that can be problematic. And we have to look up constantly and joke. We're looking up and joke. We joke up and we joke. We joke down. Boy, we do this so until our necks get stiff and sore. That's why some people run away from that kind of work. We are then ready to cut the cocoa with a cutlass and throw the pods in the lard pan. Then dump the content into a large box for the next stage, sweating the cocoa. Again, from my experience, sweating the cocoa. Now, drogging a lard pan of cocoa call for strong muscles. Next, we cover the cocoa with blogo leaves or fig leaves. But there's still more to be done. When we put the cocoa in the sun to be dried, we spread large cocos bags. Well, many of us, I guess we prefer the word cocos bags. Cocos, C-R-O-C-U-S bags. So we spread the cocos bags on the ground and scatter the cocoa on them. We must keep an eye out on the weather, because at times the sun gets stingingly hot, and then without warning, it starts raining. You ever heard the saying, who have cocoa in the sun must look out for rain? And then when the rain start to fall, we have to rush, pick up the cocoa. And as soon as we take the cocoa into a safe place, the sun reappears again, and we go outside and put the cocoa back to complete the drying process. And then the rain comes again. It's sort of a drill, a cat and mouse game with nature. The sun and the rain combining to make us sweat. Again, some people don't like that. It's hard work for them. Keep away from that. The running up and down causes us to sweat. We sweat just like the cocoa. When the cocoa is properly dried, it is parched and the shell removed. A brick oven is often useful for parching the cocoa. And then another aspect of processing the cocoa, the grinding commences. This is tough work. To grind the cocoa, we use the same mill we attached to the table to grind our pepper when making hot pepper sauce. Now, acknowledgement is due to all those who labored with the cocoa trees in the backyard. They deserve commendation for their patience and their hard work as they diligently toiled to process the cocoa they enjoyed and gave their neighbors to drink. We are happy, we in America, in Canada, in England, are happy when they send us the cocoa to warm our hearts as we labor in the deep freeze of America and Europe. Frost, the poet, wrote about the drowsy effect of apple picking, but a warm cup of cocoa tea, or chocolate as some people would say, would have lifted him from that stupor induced by the smell of so many apples. Cocoa tea, anyone? Now here's a picture of a large-scale drying of the cocoa I once took at Douglaston Estate in St. John. Anthony Wendell the Riggs. And of course, this is what we use to grind the cocoa. We're talking about boy days, eh? So some of the people, the young people today, boy, they'll run from that. Anthony Wendell the Riggs.